Hello, everybody, and welcome back to IntyCenter for another whip around FODEUSS. We've got a lot of action this week, so we're going to skip any kind of PSAs and other statements and get started with a dominant pitching performance and a pair of dramatic endings. First in San Diego, where Clayton Kershaw was good. 8 innings, 3 runs on 10 hits, but Bob Gibson was better. 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts. Matt Harvey gets the save to complete the 3-0 win for Sithy with two more doubles from Nap LaJoie. Then we've got brand new ball players up 2-0 going into the eighth, but Orlando Cepeda gets a 2-out single and an error by Ricky Henderson with the second run score. That's going to tie that game at 2. In the bottom of the ninth, an error by the Animes lets Dobie Moore score on the walk-off error, and the ball players take that one 3-2. But our first day absolute mayhem was to be found in Birmingham. Bottom of the eighth, tied at 3. Ted Williams singles home 2 runs, then scores on a Fred Dunlap double. The Barons score 4 in that inning to take a 7-3 lead, only for Archie Vaughn, who you may remember once played for that franchise, to hit a 3-run homer in the bottom of the ninth. The Throws score 4 in the inning and tied it at 7, and we're off to extra innings. In the bottom of the 10th, it's John McGraw throwing the suck it motion the entire time he's running to first base. That causes Wade Boggs to misplay it. That error lets him reach. He'd later score on a single from Fred Dunlap. That's a walk-off winner for the Shack Barons, 9-8. But if you thought that game was insane, hey, wait for game 2 of the Bandwagoners and the Gales of November. The Bandwagoners have Mickey Mantle leading off with a homer, and they score 5 in the first, and they lead 7-2 entering the eighth inning. But after a 22-minute rain delay, the Gales score 4, including a pair on a triple from Dave Bancroft. In the top of the ninth, Gavi Cravath hits a solo homer to tie it up. We're off to extras. In the 10th, an RBI double from Hank Greenberg and a sac fly from Cravath put the Gales up 9-7, only for an RBI double from Lou Gehrig to set up a walk-off 2-run homer from Carl Yastrzemski. The Bandwagoners take it 10-9 in 10 innings. Herb Scored took a 3-0 lead over Bob Feller and the Angels of Hernandez into the eighth inning. Joe Medwick would hit a game-tying 3-run homer off of Herb Score, and the Angels would add 3 more off Emmanuel Clase, who somehow in 1961 was texting his friends about quote-unquote cockfighting. That's going to give that's going to give the Angels a 6-3 lead. Amazings would get runners on second and third in the ninth with nobody out, but they'd score just 1 run, and the all-seeing Angels of Hernandez take that one 6-4. And this is apparently just the theme of games this week, and this time it's the performance enhancers and Reseda free fallers. Reseda scores 1 in the first and backed by a Barry Larkin 2-run homer, 3 in the second, and it's an early 4-0 lead. Fernando Mania keeps the enhancers off the board until the eighth, but a 2-run double from Al Simmons and a 2-run single from Paul Wainer both tie the game at 4 and knock Valenzuela out of the game. Once again, we head to extras, and in the 11th, it's Wainer who gets an RBI double, then gets thrown out at third trying to advance. But a 1-2-3 bottom of the 11th by Zach Britton make that just a footnote, and that's a 5-4 win for the enhancers. The Shack Barons ran their win streak to 15, but needed some extra inning magic to do it. A-Rod gets a first inning RBI single to put the brand new ball players on top 1-0. And the oft-maligned Greg Swindell would keep the Barons off the board until an RBI single from Ted Williams off reliever Sean Doolittle in the bottom of the eighth. 1-1 is where we stay until Ted Williams draws a bases-loaded walk-off walk in the bottom of the 12th. That means it's a 2-1 win for the Shack Barons. We had a possible playoff preview between the City of Ostenard and the Demon Bags. That saw Scythie get a pair of runs off Charlie Bender in the first, and those were the only runs Bender would give up in the game as he allowed 4 hits. Those 2 runs, though, were enough as Willard Brown gets an RBI single in the sixth, and that's it for the Demon Bags. Dave Brown goes 6 innings, Bill Foster does the rest, and Scythie takes that series opener 2-1. Tarek Skubal and the Enhancers took a 3-0 lead into the eighth inning against New York State of Mound. This is another potential playoff preview. Uh, the State of Mound, however, scored 9 times in the eighth, completely turned that game on their head, and they win it 9-3. Now, if you've ever watched IntyCenter, you probably know that the host loves a 1-0 baseball game. But even better than that is an extra innings 1-0 baseball game. We got Walter Spahn going 11 innings of shutout baseball, giving up just 5 hits and taking a no decision. We got Grover Pete Alexander going 8 innings, giving up 5 hits, shutout baseball, and also taking a no decision. The only run in this absolute classic came in the top of the 13th inning. Ozzie Smith gets a 2-out RBI single off Oral Hershiser, and the Bandwagoners get an epic 1-0 win. Now, other games on that day were not so close. This is July 28th. Our other final scores besides that 1-0 13-inning game, the other scores 9-2, 15-3, 15-4, 7-0, 7-1, and 8-1. On to the next day where we've got Greg Maddux and Pedro Martinez doing Maddux and Martinez type things. Maddux nearly throws a Maddux. He tosses a 2-hit shutout, but he does need 107 pitches as he strikes out 7 and walks none. Mike Schmidt gets a 2-run single, and Let's Play 2 wins 3-0. Martinez, Pedro, he goes 8 innings. He blanks the State of Mound on 2 hits. He walks 3, strikes out 7. Edwin Diaz, though, has one of my favorite stat lines. He hits a pair of batters, he strikes out a pair of batters, and he needs 27 pitches for his 1 inning of work. The Amazings win that one 6-0. It was 6-6 in the finale between the Bandwagoners and the Angels of Hernandez when the Angels lifted Bob Feller. A George Wright 2-run homer and a Barry Bonds 3-run homer highlight a 9-run eighth for the Bandwagoners, and they're going to waltz their way to a 15-6 victory. Red Faber and Justin Verlander gave us a heck of a duel, and the Surfers led Jolly Roger 2-0 heading into the ninth. Kirby Puckett hits a leadoff homer in the top of the ninth to have that lead, and Jorge Posada gets a 2-out RBI single to tie it up at 2. Jolly Rogers, they're going to get their first 2 batters retired in the 12th inning and then score 4 runs that inning anyways. They'll see Wilbur Wood finish it off. He ends up with 4 1/3 innings of relief, gets the win, and it's 6-2 for Jolly Roger. And folks, it's possible the Shaq Barons might never lose again, but that was put to the test in their finale against the brand new ball players. Barons were up 5-1 heading into the 7th, but a pinch hit 2-run homer from Jack Clark ties it at 5 in the 8th. A-Rod gets an RBI single in the 9th to put brand new ball players up 6-5, but a 2-out RBI single from Fred Dunlap in the bottom of the 9th keeps the win streak alive, send us to extras tied at 6. We'd go all the way to the 13th inning. It's Ted Williams with a walk-off RBI single. That's a 7-6 win for the Shaq Barons. That's an 18-game win streak for the Shaq Barons. And that's going to do it for us this time on IntyCenter. Take care of yourself, folks, and we'll see you next time for our next whip around. FODEUSS.